Welcome to the Business Insider Podcast, where we interview the top business leaders in their respective industries. Hey, what's going on, guys? Today I'm excited to introduce a special VIP guest. We've got Rebekah here. She is the owner of Unita Marketing, and they specialize in strengthening the online presence of small to medium-sized businesses, essentially helping them grow. Rebekah, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. My pleasure. And as you know, I've got a bunch of questions lined up for you. And I'm sure our audience is wondering, specifically what you guys do and really what the major outcomes are for your clients that work with you. So before the podcast, you would kind of give me a brief rundown on what that looked like. If you wouldn't mind reiterating that to the audience, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, sure. Basically, a lot of businesses come to me with, they have this great specialty and nobody knows about it, right? And so what we're doing is we're helping connect people who are looking for whatever it is they do to them instead of their competitors. So there's this, it's not as much of a misconception now as there used to be, but when you go to Google and you type something in, you're looking for someone for a company, there's this misconception that whoever lands there is the best, right? So you never go to page 2 or 3. So when clients are showing up at the top of search engines for the keywords that they want to show up for, it can make or break them, really. It's a way to grow in a sustainable way. And so what we do is we figure out who their audience is and what they're typing into Google, and we help our clients show up in that place.
Makes perfect sense. Now, if you were to define your superpower or the unique skill or insight that really sets you apart in your space, what would it be and how does it shape your success?
Frankly, I think what sets us apart is, we've certainly got the specialization of search engine optimization. So that's the number one thing that sets us apart. I spend all day, every day honing that skill to be more efficient for my clients, be more productive. The other thing that sets us apart is that we're boutique, but with intention. We actually know and care about every single one of our clients. We take the time to learn what it is that they do, what separates them from their competitors. We learn their story, and we're essentially helping to tell their story. It's not just about bringing in the leads. It's about making sure people are comfortable working with you. A lot of our clients are people that go into other people's homes and things like that. And we want to make sure that we're building their reputation online, that we're accurately representing their brand, whether you want it to be more casual, more approachable, whether you want it to be more polished, more professional. We're figuring out who it is you want to talk to and how you want us to speak to those people. We're trying to get inside each client's head, really. It's really it's fascinating to me how every single client has a unique voice, every single client has a unique audience, every single client has a unique something to say, right?
Yeah, for sure. Now, I'm curious, Rebekah, what kind of inspired you to pursue your current path? I mean, how'd you get here?
Two different questions. The first question, I can't remember what inspired me.
Yeah, what inspired
Um,
you?
I was born this way. I was born empathizing with small business owners. I knew I wanted to own my own business. This is my fourth or fifth business that I've owned. I've always been an entrepreneur. Um, but I was the kid, 6, 7 years old. We'd go into a store and I'd be talking to the business owner saying, "How are things going? How's business?" And they're looking at me like, "What are you talking about, little kid?" And I'm telling them, "Hey, I noticed your sign out front was obstructed by the branches. Have you thought about trimming that branch so people could see what you do?" And they're looking at me going, "Who is this kid?" Right? But I've always been this way. Like I can't turn it off. I just have this marketing brain. I was born with it, and I've just been honing it, and went to school for it, and learned a few things. But yeah, 6, 7 years old, I had these instincts of, hey, what you're doing is great, but like people can't see you, right? Like, why don't you move your sign over here, or add this or that? And I mean, they're looking at me like, that's actually a great idea, little kid. Um, so yeah, I was definitely born this way. And I took an unusual path. Went to UNC Chapel Hill. Woohoo! Best marketing school in the entire nation. I absolutely loved it. I'll preach it all day to anybody. And I was gung ho. I was ready to go work for a big agency and do all the things. And ended up just taking a hard left. Got married and started a family. Was just like, what? This is not what I was thinking I was going to do. But did that and gave it everything I had. And I coached gymnastics, believe it or not, all the way through. I was a gymnast my whole life. started coaching back in high school and into college, and became the perfect stay-at-home mom job, right? But of course, I had that marketing brain, so I was marketing for the gyms that I was working at. Then I helped them grow their business and help, do all these things for that gym. Then I went to a different gym, did the same thing. Then I started my own gymnastics programs, marketed my own thing, bringing my kids up the whole time. Um, and then came the time where my kids got to school, and I realized, hey, I'm like doing all these different things, and I'm running all these different businesses, and I'm never seeing my kids. So I decided to sell out and work for an agency. And I was like, oh, this is a vacation, it's 40 hours a week. This is great. And quickly realized, no, this is not going to work for me. I'm an entrepreneur and I don't want to do what other people tell me. I've learned a lot and I'm so grateful for the opportunity. I mean, the owner of the business was doing exactly what I wanted to do. He was helping small and medium-sized businesses grow. He taught me everything that I needed to know in order to launch my own search engine optimization agency, essentially. So yeah, it kind of came to that point where it was, more clients than I wanted. And they just kept building and building and building. And, everything else was staying the same for me financially. And my family's growing. My kids are getting older. And I was like, this isn't working for me anymore. I'm going to need to do this my way. And I want to be intentionally small. I want to provide a higher level of service that, what you typically get in an agency is pretty zoomed out, zoom
Yeah.
out and then zoom back in, zoom out, zoom back in. And we're really intentional. Every single one of our clients is VIP. Our motto is everyone matters and everything matters. Like there's no small clients. There's no insignificant, projects. It all matters and it's all important.
Yeah, it's such an important thing to have, as a business owner. Because I feel like we see a lot of agencies and businesses that are just trying to scale as quickly as they can. They don't really care about their clients. They're like, oh, I'm gonna wait 3 weeks before I even respond to this client. I don't want to deal with it. And that's amazing that you've really figured that out and care about every client. Because I mean, at the end of the day, they need to feel listened to, and they'll stay for many, many, many years if you just give them that 5 minute window even once a week. So, definitely can relate to that. And I also think that's an amazing story, by the way, as well. I think that's kind of what happens to a lot of entrepreneurs is when they, start working for another company. They're like, I don't like the way this is being run. Like, you have that, it's hard to kind of shush that inner voice in your head where it's like, I want to run it this way. I do not like the way they're doing this. And like, I want to have control of everything.
Yeah, I'm sure I drove my owner crazy because I kept on, I'm the annoying customer who is looking for the suggestion box everywhere I go.
Yes.
Because and it comes back, most of my suggestions are not because I'm high maintenance or it's because I want to help them. I'm like, hey, this was not a great customer experience, and I want to make sure that you're giving a good customer experience because you're a small business owner and I know how hard you work to get where you are. So it's like I cannot turn it off. I mean, it's crazy. But I was working for a small business and it was going constantly. I was just like, this isn't going to work for me. And he was really patient with me. I'm sure he's like, okay, enough with the recommendations.
That's funny. So how powerful has networking been to your success, and what tools would you recommend other entrepreneurs use?
That is something that I have been learning a lot about this last year. The way I built, I'm going to answer a question that you didn't ask in order to
Okay.
answer that question.
Okay.
So when, I kind of told the story a little quick on how I went out on my own. I was dissatisfied. I went over that part. But the part I didn't go over is that I didn't necessarily think that I was going to do it on my own at that point. I knew, number one, I needed higher income fast. I needed like way higher income. And number two, I knew that I wasn't happy with the way it was going, right? I wanted less clients. I wanted higher specialty, less quantity, higher quality. I knew I wanted those two things. And so I was looking at, I know I could go get one of those jobs, work for the corporate, work for the man, whatever. I was considering that, and I was considering going out on my own. Around the same time, two of my best friends opened a brewery, and they reached out to me and they said, "We want you to do our marketing, not your agency. We want you to do it." I was like, "All right, let's do that. That's going to be great. I'm going to have a blast with that." And I did, and it was so much fun. I loved it, and it just had me working nights and weekends, which was fine. I was happy they're good friends of mine. I wanted them to see their dream come true, and I really wanted to do it right. And they're killing it, by the way.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So that was client number one. Client number two, I love telling this story because it just really is a great picture of what we do. He was referred to me. We needed a hardscaping job in our backyard. He was referred to me by a friend. I didn't look him up online. They said, he's great. You'll love him. His name's Chris, right? So they give me his phone number. Chris shows up to my house with a trailer that says two guys mowing. And I'm like, hey, man, I thought you were a hardscaper. And he said, I am. I used to mow, but now I specialize in hardscaping. I said, well, where's the other guy? He goes, oh, yeah, it used to be two of us, and now there's one. I'm like, let me get this straight. There were two guys mowing, and now there's one guy hardscaping. He's like, yeah, I should probably get a new name. And I was like, yeah, you've come to the right place. Let's talk. So he sits down at my kitchen table. And by the end of the day, we had something worked out where basically he had moved to a different city and all of his clients were in Raleigh and he was commuting an hour to every job. I said, no, man, we're going to fill your pipeline with hardscaping jobs within 15 miles of your house. He was like, that would be amazing. I said, we can do it. Give me 3 months. And we did it. He starts getting leads. He's filling up on leads. He hires a team and then we start building out from there. It's like, okay, you're busy in this area. Now you're busy in this area. He hired a second team. Now he's building his third team. We've been working together for 3 years. He was client number two. What we've been able to do for him is help him not just show up for hardscaping company, hardscaping contractor. When somebody types in pergola builder, deck builder, patio pavers, right? Any of those things, they don't land on his homepage. They land on his pergola page. They immediately see what they're looking for, right?
Nice.
So I want a pergola. I'm not going to type in hardscaping contractor. I'm going to type in pergola builder, right? So we type, somebody in his area types that in. They type it in with the city name, and he pops up in a beautiful way, nice, robust listing. You can go to his about page. You can go to his gallery. You can do whatever you want. They land on his pergola page. They see that's exactly what I'm looking for. There's some pictures. Looks great. There's a contact form. There's a phone number. There's an email. Get up with him however you want to get up with him, right? His pipeline is so full now. He's hiring three. This is his third team, and teams are huge in a hardscaping business. I mean, that's a tremendous
Yeah.
investment. So he was client number two, right? And it went from there. Every time somebody showed up in my house, they turned into a client, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's how my business grew. And then people started talking, So then my second layer of business was from referrals. And now I'm on this third layer where it's like, wow, I've really got to work on, scaling and figuring out, do I either need to stop networking or grow as a business? And we've got a team of 4 now. We've decided to grow. And we're restructuring the way things are a little bit, but we're still staying true to our roots, which are, being boutique and being intentional and, making sure that we all know every client. But yeah, it's been amazing to me networking. People used to always joke with me like, are you sure you want to be in marketing? You should be in sales. You could sell ice to an Eskimo, whatever. But to me, it's just such an easy thing to sell. It's like I'm so passionate about what I do. I love working. My challenge is not working. Like getting up and realizing it's I live in Raleigh. It's 70 degrees 9 months a year, and get on your paddleboard, get in the woods, go hike, go do something else. Because I lose hours just sitting here working and helping my clients grow their businesses. It's an easy thing to sell. And so when you start talking to people, you start talking to business owners, and they're like, well, nobody knows I'm here. I moved locations, or I set up a second place and I don't know how to do it. I'm like, oh, let me help you. Like, I would love to help you, and then it just snowballs from there.
Yeah. I feel like it's really about if you can demonstrate to people how much you care and how passionate you are about your business, rather than like, oh yeah, so here's what I do, here's the price, right? It's like let
Yeah,
me
yeah.
help you, right? Like I can tell you just like you're passionate, you care, and you're like someone's telling you about that. I'm like, dude, I can help you get your name out there. Like we'll
Yeah.
talk about costs in a second or later, but like here's just like I know I can do this for you. Like let me help you. And
And I
people
don't even
really
know how much it costs at first because I don't even know what I'm going to do. Like, I need to learn. Yeah, there's no A, B, or C. We have every single client has a different set of what we do for them and how we work for them. And are you doing events? Are you not doing, there's just a million parameters that are factored in there. But yeah, ultimately, the drawback to being boutique and small by intention is that when you meet people that you can help, you're kind of like, oh, I don't really have the bandwidth.
yeah.
So rather than saying no, you bring in a team member and you're like, okay, now I got the bandwidth, so now I can keep talking. But yeah, I mean, I think networking is integral. if you want to grow.
Yeah.
If you don't want to grow, stay home. But if you want to grow, you got to make connections with people. You got to have conversations. And with what we do, it's not just having the conversation with that direct business owner, right? Which is ideal, obviously. But, I just had a meeting with somebody right before you who works with business owners, right? And so I get the opportunity to sit across the table from somebody who works with small business owners. I'm going to do it because I want to be in their head because they're providing a totally different service. But when that client complains to them about XYZ, I want my name to be in their head.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, I credit so much of my young entrepreneurial success to networking, shaking every hand I can, taking every meeting and just providing value, right? I like to
Yeah,
call myself a connector. It's like, if I can think of someone in my network that's a good connection for somebody else, I always do that. And I always do that with the podcast as well. It's just so important. I believe in positive energy coming back to you at a later date. Um,
100%.
so yeah, no, that's really amazing, that you have that practice as well. I think a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs really underutilize it and they just don't care.
Yeah, the cool thing, one thing, another thing that's a little bit unique about us is that this, little town called Raleigh, North Carolina is my home. I love it. I've been here my whole life. I left for 4 years to go to school and got to live abroad during that time, got to travel across the country. So, don't feel bad for me. I've seen it. I've been around, I travel a lot, but this is my home base and it has been my whole life and it probably will be my whole life. And the networking started when I'm 5, 6 years old, as a child, like in these people that watch me grow up and their kids and their grandkids and, all the things. So I know somebody who does everything. So people, I get calls every day about, hey, who do you know? Who's a good person for this and who's a good person for that? And I love being that, like you said, the connector to help people connect, with whoever it is. And guess what? I'm not going to tell them about the corporation. I'm going to tell them about the small business owner. I'm going to say, oh, this store is so cool. Like you could go in there and, Susan will help you and just tell her what you need. And, like that's what I think makes a community. And, Raleigh is growing pretty fast. To call us a community is a little bit of a stretch. It's, bordering on metropolitan area. We're getting there. We're getting there. We got a few skyscrapers now.
Awesome. So in your experience, Rebecca, I mean, what do you feel like is the biggest problem in your industry? And at the end of the day, what are you guys doing to solve for that?
Right now, my biggest problem is there is so much garbage out there. I mean, just garbage. And my inbox is full of it. My voicemail's full of it. My text thread's full of it. I mean, it's just like there's so many low integrity people that call themselves marketing professionals that are giving the rest of us a bad name. I don't think that I'm on an island sitting here with integrity, right? I don't think I'm the only one who cares about my business, my clients. I think most agency owners care about their clients. Most agency owners have integrity, but we're up against this terrible reputation built on these, I mean, an example, is an email coming into my inbox just before this meeting, and I just, rolled my eyes and reported it as junk. But it's like, I could bring you 30 to 50 leads a week, da 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 da. I'm like, I don't want 30 to 50 leads a week, right? Give me one good solid lead every few weeks, and I'm happy, right? Like, I want a good quality connection with a human being. Like, I want to actually help a human. I do not want a bunch of email addresses and just and the things that I inherit. I mean, I was thinking around Halloween, of course, the shoemakers kids have the worst shoes. That's the first reason I hired my first team member was hired to help me market my own business because I wasn't publishing anything,
Yeah, yeah.
for myself. But one idea that came and went is horror stories. Like around Halloween, I was just going to do like horror stories of what I inherit. Like these websites are just horrible. And the people are like, oh yeah, I worked with somebody from I won't say any names, but like, these mass produced agencies where you pay them $150 and they turn around a website for you that is absolute trash.
Trash. Yep.
I mean, just trash. And it's just like, I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like I could spend twice as much time putting lipstick on this pig for you, or we could just start over because the code is so crappy. Like this is so slow. It's not like this is, I don't even like, let's just start
Yeah.
over, please. Like there's nothing to keep here. To burn it down, burn it down. It's so bad.
Yeah, we definitely see that a lot on our side as well. There's just so many of these. You have on one side, you do have, a lot of the agencies where there's just, they're doing random stuff. They don't really care about generating results. They're just trying to make a quick buck. Then the other side, you have the big softwares, you have the Wixes, you have those guys that just do a terrible job. And then, being a local business owner, you don't have a lot of time to really research these things or you don't understand how it works. And you kind of just like, the first thing you kind of see, you're like, oh, that's cheap. I'll do that because I'll have to spend a lot of money. And then what ends up happening, like you just said, it's that terrible, doesn't do anything, doesn't bring any leads. And it's just, you basically are wasting your time on a, low monthly subscription to some, crappy software. So,
Something, yeah. And random is another issue. Where I also inherit clients who have been built a decent website by an agency. It's actually structured in a similar way that I might have structured it. I can tell there's an SEO lens there. And I'm thinking, oh, okay, it's going to be great. And then I look over to what's been happening, what's been going on, and I'm like, what is this? This is just a bunch of random stuff. You're checking off a box. That's what you're doing. You told them you'd publish twice a month, and you're publishing twice a month, but there's no point in what you're doing, right? There's there's got to be strategy, right? And you can't just SEO. You can't just keyword, keyword, keyword. You've It's got to be engaging content that's shareable, where you're building your audience, and you also have a keyword strategy on top of that. Like, it all matters, right? And so to have intention behind what you're doing is so important, because worthless publishing is worthless, right? And there's a lot of worthless content happening right now.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so that's another issue for another
absolutely.
day.
And Rebecca, I mean, for any of our viewers out there that, are local business owners, that are looking to kind of dip into marketing, figure out how to make it happen, get more leads, and, maybe they're already working with someone that isn't doing a good job. What would you recommend to these people?
Email me, Rebecca. I'm just kidding. Um, so my advice would be, don't cut corners on the foundation of your marketing. So if you have a small amount of money, and I'm not going to be able to invest in this monthly, get a website that works for you. Take your time with it. Don't cut corners on the website. Zooming out even from there, find a partner. Find somebody who cares about you, who takes the time to sit across the table from you, or if you're not local, to sit on a meeting with you and listen to you. Right? If they're not listening, if they're looking elsewhere and they're not engaging with you, you follow that gut instinct. They probably don't care, right? Find somebody who actually cares about what you're doing and helping you in your mission to grow, right? And if you feel comfortable in that regard, whatever your budget is, they're going to make it work in the best way that they can for you. But my best advice is lay a strong foundation, a good solid website. Let somebody professional set up your socials, optimize them, all that good stuff, and they can set up a plan for you. Like, even if you can't afford ongoing marketing strategy, which is not as bad as you think, and I highly recommend it. And it comes back twofold. You know, if you can do it, do it. But don't just sign some contract with some big agency that you don't trust. I don't recommend that in any way, shape, or form. If you find someone you trust, give them a chance. Give them 3, 6 months. Um, but if that's not an option, and it's not an option for everybody, leverage that person and say, can you teach me how to maximize my efforts?
Yeah.
Right? Utilize their expertise in a way that you don't mind doing the hustle, but you don't know what to do. They can teach you what to do. I do that for some clients. It's a different way around it, and then they usually come back to me and say, never mind, you do it. But but they think they're going to do it at least, and some people do it themselves and they do a good job. But it's all about your ROI. If most of my clients, if I bring in 1 or 2 clients a month, they're more than paying for what they pay me. And it's just like a joke. It's like, of course I'm going to invest that small amount, because we end up bringing them, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 clients a month, right?
Right.
It just grows and grows and grows from there. It's wild.
So if any of our viewers, do want to connect, collaborate, or even work with you, what would be the best way for them to get in contact?
I'd encourage them to go to my website, because then they can check out all the things that we do for them. And then they can fill out a contact form on there. It's Unita, is unity spelled with an A instead of a Y. It's the Italian spelling of the word unity. Um, And that word is intentional. It's marketing for everyone, not just the rich corporations. It's marketing for you, for all small business owners and medium-sized businesses. So younidtomarketing.com is the website. You can also email me, Rebekah@younidtomarketing.com, or you can call, text me, 919-819-6020. I take messages in all forms. I'm happy to help you help grow your business.
Perfect. Well, guys, I'm going to link all of her stuff in the description, so definitely go check her out. And Rebekah, thank you for your time and insights today. It was a pleasure having you on the podcast.
Thanks, Riley. I appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. No, thank you for coming.